Great morning. You guys come on in. Come on in. Come on in. While you guys are coming in, I'm going to go ahead and share. Great morning. Hey, April. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Y'all let me share. Okay. All right. All right. You guys come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Miss Miranda, how are you, beautiful? Good to see you. Let me turn on my do not disturb. All right, all right. You guys come on in, come on in. I'm excited for this word right here. This word ought to encourage you, strengthen you, build you up. Come on in. Hey, Jackie, thank you for sharing. Hey, Corey, thank you for sharing. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started on this amazing Friday morning. I'm super excited. So this morning, when I got up, God began to deal with me on the things that come to try to stop us, right? Whether it's things that people say or things that people do. Hey, baby, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Corey. Or the attacks that we experience as we're going forward and we're moving forward. One thing about God, one thing about him, he has made us promises that we can appropriate for our lives. And we don't have to guess. We don't have to wonder. We don't have to feel like, well, maybe. No, 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 no. His word said that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you, you shall silence. Listen, it is time for you to walk in the it won't, can't, ain't gonna prosper. It's not. It's not. It just isn't. It just isn't. Like, God is not going to allow it to prosper. I'm not saying it won't be formed. Okay? Listen, they can form them all day long. Good morning, Summerlin. I hope you feel better. They can form them all day long, but it shall not prosper. It shall not. Listen, let me do this real quick because I want y'all to understand how serious it is. All right. Shall. Expressing the future tense, right? Expressing a strong assertion or intention. They shall succeed. It shall not prosper. That is a strong assertion or intention. So when, this is good. Shall, used to express what is inevitable or seems likely to happen in the future. Okay? Inevitable or seems to be likely to happen in the future. Used to say that something certainly will or must happen. So if we say it shall not prosper, it most certainly, without doubt, will not, cannot prosper. So what does that mean for us? Stop stressing about stuff that ain't finna do nothing. You ain't even got to stress about it. Don't give it your time or your attention. Know that God has already worked it out. Hey, Mike, how are you? He's already worked it out. It's already done. It's already established. One of my, like, I love the scriptures that have shall in it, right? One of my favorite is you shall live and not die to declare the works of the Lord. Listen, you most certainly will live. Huh? In this situation, you most certainly will live. God is raising up a generation of people who believe God's word for real. Now, you may have had a point in your life where you were a little double-minded in the word. You weren't clear about your identity. But baby, this is not that season. God says in this season right here, you're going to know not only who you are, but whose you are. You're going to walk boldly in what God has said about you. You're going to be able to do what God said that you can do. Like, it's not going to be no ifs, ands, and buts. You know, it's going to happen. It shall happen. It must happen. Hold on, I'm going to give it a little more, just a little more light, just a little more ambiance at the table. So, what is it for you? That you found yourself in the place where you've been worried or concerned or a little stressed out about some things. Some things that maybe people are attempting, maybe people are trying you. Look, I'm going to tell y'all something. I so love this season of my life. And I'm going to tell you why I love this season of my life. I'm learning to not get consumed by things I can't control, and how to navigate things when it disrupts my peace, my joy, when it disrupts my schedule, how to navigate that, how to walk through it, how to maneuver in it. And in doing so, it has given me another level of peace. Like, and not the peace like, forget it, not that kind of peace, but a peace that is going to work for my good. Like, look, let me tell y'all something. I know what I know. And I know what God has said, and I know what God is doing in this season, in my life, in our lives, in the lives of his people. Whosoever will, right? Whosoever will listen, whosoever will receive, whosoever will walk it out, right? And so because of that, I'm not going to give a lot of energy to stuff that is unproductive. So it means that I had to change me. Can't change nobody else, but I can change me. Change my reactions, my responses, change how I look at things, and just truly rest in the confidence that God has it. You know, we're getting ready to do quite a bit of traveling over the next week, right? I'm talking about we getting ready to be like on go mode, right? And I'm just not stressing about any of it, right? I'm not. Like, I know that anything that happens, anything that God allows, he is doing it. He's allowing it for me. It's going to work for me. Like, so I'm not going to stress about anything. My husband and I were talking last night because, like, we're traveling. Like, I fly in, fly out. I fly back, drive down, right? Like, that's what it's going to be like next week for us. And so we were talking about connections, and like, I've got to get off one plane and not like it's the same trip. No, I get off one plane and get on another plane for a separate trip, right? So we were talking about our tickets, and, you know, we've got to fly out of different places. He's got to fly out of Panama City. I've got to fly out of Orlando because I'll be flying back into Orlando from Jamaica. And so we're flying from different places, going to the same spot, right? And then we're flying back to a whole different spot. We're going to fly back into Tampa. And then we've got to drive to Boca Raton for graduation, for Everglades graduation. And the time ain't timing. When we get in to Tampa, we're we're not going to get there by a time that had been specified. So, I was like, I'm not worried about it, babe. I'll just call. It'll work out because I don't have time to stress. Everything concerning us, God already has worked out for us. Anything that comes to try to derail, to stop, to delay us, it's not going to prosper. And if God allows a delay, he's allowing the delay for us, not to work against us, not to stop us, not to prevent us from moving forward, but he's going to allow that delay, the very delay that someone may think is designed to stop us, the very delay that someone may think is going to cause us to quit or give up. That very delay is going to work to increase our impact. It's going to work to increase our income, our impact, our income, and our insight. Listen, I'm just trying to tell somebody what the enemy means for evil, God will turn it around for your good. And it'll turn it around for your good so that the world might know that whether it look like you losing or it look like you winning, you winning. Even when it look like you losing, you winning. Even when it look like it's tight, you winning. Even when it look like something that has been done is prospering, you winning. You winning, you winning, you winning. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. See, you got to understand that every connection that God has been establishing in your life, that God has been doing is setting you up for this particular moment, this particular time, this particular season. He's been preparing you for a place of greatness that already has your name on it. You got a specific address there. Listen, God is just waiting for you to get to the place where you can put it in the GPS and get specifically to that location. Up until then, maybe, there may be some reroutes, right? You may have to turn around. You may have to have a detour. You may have to go a different way. But even that is going to work for you. You can't get consumed by the fact that it ain't no straight shot. Can't get consumed by that. No. Maybe it's something that you need to learn. Maybe it's something that you need to see. Maybe it's something that you need to experience before you get to that place. You can't allow yourself to get weighed down and burdened down by stuff that you cannot control. Listen, I like when the devil try me now. I like it. Because it gives me a chance to flex. Just flex. Flex on them. You got to flex on them, right? Gives me a chance to flex. My daddy got it. My daddy got me. See, when we understand that, we will stop allowing the things that the enemy sends as an attempt to distract you, make you doubt, make you question, activate fear in you. You just stop allowing that stuff to work. It won't work. It won't work. It won't work. Even when it looked like it's working, it won't work. And you'll be able to step up and be like, what we not going to do is that. I have literally watched God provide me with the very things that I desire because of a thought. Because of a thought. I had a thought and the thought manifested. I had a thought. I didn't even say it out loud. I had a thought and God did it. You've got to understand the power of your thoughts and not just your words that come out of your mouth. Your thoughts are powerful. You want to see change in your life, change your thoughts and your thought patterns and your thought processes. You want to see change in your life, allow your thoughts to produce positive words that produce what you're thinking, right? Listen, I have put in front of your eyes what you want to see. Put in front of your eyes what you want to see. There's a reason that this picture is on my desk. When you look at this picture, you tell me, what do you see? When you look at this picture, what do you see? Y'all drop in the comments. What do you see? Y'all tell me what y'all see. And I'm going to talk about why it's on my desk. What do y'all see when you look at this picture? Beside the ring light. Oh, look at that. Put us in a circle. What do y'all see when you see this picture? Jackie said love. Hey, Tammy. Corey said joy. Come on, what do y'all see when y'all see this picture? April said happiness. What do y'all see? And love. April said happiness and love. What do y'all see when y'all see that picture? I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Love, peace, and contentment. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Mike said, one, I love it. My baby said, happy, happy, joy, joy. Corey said, love and happiness. April said, freedom. Okay. So, Summerlin said, beautiful smiles. Yes. Let me put y'all stuff up here. Love, joy, love and happiness. Love, peace, and contentment. One, happy, happy, joy, joy. Love and happiness. Freedom, beautiful smiles. Now, let me tell you why I keep that picture on my desk. Joy, love, and happiness. Yes, I keep that picture on my desk because it's my constant reminder of the state that I want us to be in, right? So if for some reason I'm upset with him or he's upset with me, that picture is my reminder of who we are. This is what I want. So in order to avoid anything else, I may have to adjust my attitude. I may have to adjust my expectations. I may have to adjust how I'm viewing a situation. I may have to adjust something, but the adjustment is worth it. Sheila says safety, peace, protection, joy, love, completeness. Good morning, Eveline. Corey said a book cover. All right now. All right now, Prophet. All right. I have 2 pictures on my desk. That's one. And the beauty is you can have joy in black and white. We think joy only comes in color, but you can have joy in black and white. This is the other picture that's on my desk. And I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see this one because of the light and that is glass. Okay. So that's my husband, my daughter, my sister, the lady apostle, and my grandbaby Maddie. Now, I ain't even got all my grandkids on there, all my children on there. But this picture represents for me the infusion, the connection, and generations. I really just thought about this. It's 3 generations of women in my family and my sister. My sister who has had me. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have some people in your life that have you. But my sister who was physically there, right? I'm talking about physically in my space to have me. I'm grateful that I have some amazing sisters who got me, right? But it's nice to have one that's like there, right? She's been there in the physical space. Again, joy. See, that wasn't the picture that was supposed to have been taken. The picture that was supposed to have been taken would have had both our daughters in it, right? But it didn't work like that. See, even when things don't work the way you want them to work, you got to understand that there is a reason for everything. There's a reason for everything. You know, I watch and I see how my folks are with my husband, how they love him, you know, how they embrace him. And my daughter don't really fool with nobody. Micah don't fool with nobody. She like, she don't really fool with nobody. She be real distant. Okay. But she loves my husband. And I'm so grateful for that because it makes my life so much easier. It makes it smoother for me, right? And so that picture, that day, that was Mother's Day. And to be able to share that moment with my hearts, those are my hearts. I got other hearts too, but I'm just saying in that picture, right? Was an amazing thing. Just to watch God. Just to watch God to watch God, to watch what God is doing. Angel number 126. I'm going to look this up, honey, because that spoke to me. Because 12 is double six. So that spoke to me. That's really 3 sixes, right? That's really 18, which is really 9. Okay. I'm just, let me check out angel number 126. Angel number 126 represents a divine message or auspicious opportunity. It asks you to live in harmony and balance, 2 keys to a fulfilling life. This angel number reminds you to keep your mind focused on your highest ideals and achieve your life's purpose. My God. My God. Angel number 126 is a communication from your guardian angels that the road to your success starts with your mindset and thinking. Huh? What? What, y'all? What? With your mindset and your thinking. What? Did I just talk? Anyway. In other words, you need to have self-discipline because you will become anything you want in this worldly realm. More so, every motivation you get will keep pushing you to your destination. Equally, it would help if you were willing to sacrifice in order to win your battle. You are strong enough to go after your goal differently. Basically, you need to have your mindset ready for the changes that you're going to take in life. Equally, you will someday celebrate the victory you earned. And I'm going to tell y'all, God was dealing with me this morning about some things and some shifts that I've got to make for what he's getting ready to do. See, when God is getting ready to produce you a great harvest, you have to have everything in place to receive the harvest that's coming. So that's what he was talking to me about today. I'm just saying. Huh. Through angel number 126, your angels are advising you not to focus on gaining material wants or wealth in abundance. Hold on. Get to it. It is a sign or message from your angels congratulating you for your success. Your finances and inflow of material supply have never been better. To triple your wealth and ensure supply remains abundant, the angels urge you to maintain a positive mindset at all times in your everyday life. Use your very inventive talent and inner wisdom along with positive affirmations and visualizations to manifest your dreams into reality. Also, at the same time, don't be alarmed if you haven't experienced such a prosperous period yet. Know that you're still in your early days and you may have to wait a while before they're met. The divine forces are working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that your hard work is duly rewarded with financial prosperity. So as a good organizer, have patience and keep striving until you achieve your highest purpose or point. New beginnings are just on the horizon. My God. You can also interpret this as a sign urging you to be more diplomatic and cooperative in your daily life, your day-to-day, okay? Maintaining a neutral stance and keeping your balance will get you far in life, and it'll serve as a positive example for others. Finally, use this as an encouraging sign to pursue your life mission of helping others. Serving your divine life purpose is a quick way to reap the spiritual and emotional blessings of trust, love, and companionship. Additionally, you may very well receive financial rewards too. My God. Brings the good news that you have the power to achieve a peaceful and stable relationship. So don't back out of challenging circumstances and abandon ship at the first sign of trouble. Work with your partner to handle relationship issues amicably. Know that you, with your impartial nature, have the ability to easily intervene and diplomatically separate the two arguments. Keep in mind that you'll only be able to excel in other different in other different aspects of your life when you have a peaceful home life. My God, today. Listen, I need you to understand that you are in a season of your life where God is trying to give you the things that you desire, but there's some growth required on your part. There's some things that you have to do. There are some ways that you have to grow. There are some ways that you got to change your thinking. Last night in Destiny Driven, A Journey to Greatness, the 12-week program, we were talking and I had a revelation. I had a revelation. And the revelation that I had was this, okay? You know, sometimes you don't understand. You've got all the pieces that should lead to great prosperity, right? And you don't understand why it's not happening. You don't understand. Why is this not happening for me? I don't understand. I'm smart. I'm driven. I'm consistent. Like, why is this not happening for me? So this is what God showed me. So y'all, this might be too much information, but I'm going to tell y'all anyway. So I'm that person where when something tastes really, really good to me, I want to eat it to the last drop. I don't want to leave nothing on the plate. Not a drop of juice. I don't want to leave nothing on the plate. So when it's really, really good, this sounds really, really country too, but it's the truth. I'm just going to tell the truth and shame the devil, okay? But when it's really, really good, especially sauces, you know, the juice that's left, I want all of it. Now, many times I don't have any bread left, right? If I got some bread, you know, I'll stop it with the bread and eat it on the bread. But sometimes, y'all, I'm just telling the truth. My husband will often tell me, babe, there's nothing left. Babe, just get some more. I'm like, no, I don't want any more. I want all of this. Okay. So I find myself licking my plate. Y'all, don't judge me. I'm just telling y'all. Lick my plate. Team, lick your plate. Okay. Good to the last drop. Team, good to the very last drop, right? I'll turn up the bowl so that I can get all of it. Y'all know how you have the crumbs in the chip bag? You shake it so you can get all the crumbs. Like that finger down in there to get all the crumbs. That's me. So God began to deal with me because I didn't really understand the root of that. And I won't share my food. I don't like sharing my food. I don't want to share my food. This is my food. You got some food? Okay, you eat your food. Now, if we agree to share the food, we'll share the food. We can share the food. If we agree, don't assume you're going to be able to eat my food. Don't stick your fork over there in my plate. Don't stick your finger over there in my plate, right? Ask me, okay? Ask me, and I may say yes, and I may not, okay? So I was having a conversation with my sister, and, you know, we were talking about me not sharing my food. Like, I'm serious about that. Like, my husband will tell you she's not going to share her food. If she shares her food, it's a miracle, right? I'm not sharing my food. It's mine, right? So I had to say, okay, God, what's really going on, right? What's really going on? So he began to show me something. And I was like, wow, God. He began to show me, He began to show me that is a part of a lack mentality. Now, y'all know I'm about abundance. I'm always talking about abundance. I'm always talking about, you know, tapping into the abundance. I'm talking about living a life of abundance. I'm always talking about not just having life, but having life more abundantly. Listen to me. God began to show me that although I'm talking that, and although I'm saying that there's something deeply rooted in me that is holding on to lack may come again. I may not get it again, right? And I said, wait, God, wait. So what it has done is that little nagging thing, not that I say openly because it's not here on the forefront of my mind, but in my subconscious mind, there's this thing that says I might not get this again. There's this thing that says I might not come my way again. And there's this thing that says Don't waste any of it. Don't waste a drop of it. Don't waste it. Make sure that you use all of it, right? And it has prevented me from fully tapping into the abundant life that God has for me. Because subconsciously, though not consciously, though not actively, subconsciously, there has been this thing inside of me that says lack inside of me, subconsciously. Not in my conscious mind, but what God did was allow me to see it in my conscious mind so that I can deal with it in my subconscious. If your subconscious and your conscious does not align, your subconscious wins. Let me say that again. If your subconscious and your conscious minds do not align, your subconscious is what will manifest. Why? Your subconscious is what is at the root. We've talked about this before. We talked about that one negative thought requires at least 3 positive thoughts just to cancel it. Just to cancel. I'm not talking about to get you on the other side into the positive, but just to cancel that negative thought. And if you're talking about something that is operating in your subconscious, you will begin to manifest in the natural what's going on in your subconscious. And wonder why this has happened. Why are my relationships failing? Is it possible that subconsciously, not consciously, but subconsciously, you believe that you don't deserve love, that you're not really lovable? Is it possible that subconsciously you think if a person ever really sees you, then they're not going to want to be with you, so you won't let them see you? Subconsciously. I'm not talking about consciously. I'm talking about subconsciously. What are the subconscious beliefs that you're carrying that are disrupting and interrupting your ability to walk out the fullness of your destiny? Listen, those things don't have to prosper in your life, but you've got to be honest with yourself enough to identify them. God began to show me that I was walking double-minded. I was saying the right stuff. I was teaching the right stuff. I was proclaiming the right stuff. But somewhere deep down inside of me, I still was exhibiting behaviors that indicated what was going on in my subconscious mind. That plate licking, it might not be no more. So then I had to deal with, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Thank you, woman of God. That's a God revelation. So I had to explore me. I had to explore my life. What is that? Where does that come from? And listen, I had stuff, you know. I didn't have everything everybody else had, but I had stuff. If I put something on my list that I wanted for Christmas, my daddy got it for me. He did everything in his power to get it for me. So it wasn't that I didn't have stuff. Wasn't that I didn't have food, you know. Somebody said, well, was there ever a time when your kids ate and you didn't eat? No. My kids ate and I ate, right? Even my obsession with food, because I have an obsession with food. I do. Like, I love to eat, right? So I had to say, God, what is it? Because I always ate, always had food. Like, there was never a time that I can remember where I did not have food. Like, never. Wow, God, I hear you. So in psychology, there are developmental levels, okay? Yes, Mike, I'm getting ready to break something down because God is breaking it down for me. And as he's breaking it down for me, I'm going to break it down for y'all. And this is about me. It may not apply to you. Yours may be something else. But listen, God, yes, I hear you, God. My God. Hold on. There are, hold on. Now, if I wasn't trying to think of this, I would think of it. Okay, here we go. There are stages of human development, and there are different models, right? And in these different stages of development, there are different things that have to happen, okay, in order for you to move forward effectively and in a healthy way, okay? So let me try to I'm gonna talk about two models because I see something in both of them, okay, as it relates to me, and hopefully you'll see something that as it relates to you. Why am I saying this? Because it shall not prosper. It can't prosper if you understand where it's coming from and you can address it. See, we just want to pray stuff away. We want to pray stuff away. No, can't pray everything away. Some stuff you got to face and deal with. So listen, Erickson's psychosocial stages of development. The first year of life, the crisis, because there's always a crisis that's centered around it. There's a crisis. The crisis is trust versus mistrust. If a child, if an infant is not able to develop trust, it creates certain things, right? So in the first year of life, trust versus mistrust is the crisis. The favorable outcome is faith in the environment and future events, right? If you feel secure in that first year of life, the unfavorable outcome is suspicion and fear of future events. The second year of life, it's autonomy versus doubt. Okay, autonomy is your ability to move separately from, right? Like I can do this, right? And doubt is self-doubt. So the favorable outcome is a sense of self-control and adequacy. The unfavorable outcome is feelings of shame and self-doubt. So for a child in that second year, this is why those tools are so important, right? Because they're developing their sense of control and adequacy. So if they are struggling with being able to do things, if you don't allow them to do things, they won't develop the autonomy they need, and they'll live their life in self-doubt, okay? I'm talking about at 2. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about at 2. At 2. That 3rd through 5th years is initiative versus guilt. Initiative being a self-starter, being able to kick things off, to initiate things, right? The favorable outcome is the ability to be a self-starter, to initiate one's own activities. The unfavorable outcome is a sense of guilt and inadequacy to be on one's own. Many of these adult children who won't leave home, when they were between 3 and 5, they didn't get that initiative. Instead, they were made to feel guilty about trying to start things, right? Listen, we got to think about our parenting, right? We got to think about our parenting and how it's affected our children because we didn't understand, right? But also, we've got to understand ourselves so that we can understand, oh, that's where that came from, right? There are all these little defining moments in your childhood that if you look back, once you understand what's going on with you, if you look back, you can see, oh, that I remember when this happened. Okay, that's connected to that. Okay. 6th year to puberty, from 6 to puberty, industry versus inferiority. Industry is the favorable outcome is the ability to learn how things work, to understand and to organize, right? Being able to put things together. Unfavorable outcome is a sense of inferiority at understanding and organizing. Now, then we go into the transition. Adolescence, identity versus confusion. See, this is why, y'all, I'm not surprised by the gender confusion or gender dysmorphia that occurs during puberty, because this is the time when they're trying to figure out who they are. So we make it a big thing. We make it a big thing, and we make them make choices in a stage where they're figuring out who they are, that they are not equipped to make. Y'all, did y'all hear what I said? We've got adolescents making choices that they are not prepared and equipped to make. They're figuring out who they are. And in that figuring out, there may be some same gender exploration. But what happens is, in the same gender exploration time, people are telling them, if you do this and you enjoy it, you are this. So they now are ascribing to a gendered identity that is not what God has ascribed to them, because they're thinking that what they enjoyed is who they are. I wish I had somebody that could understand what I'm saying. Your body is your body. Your body is going to respond to certain stimuli. It just is. And if a child is a victim of some kind of sexual transgression early in their life, then what they enjoy is going to shift based on what happened to them. So now, if they are figuring out their identity, because their desire, their natural desire, has been twisted because of an early encounter with something that they were not equipped to deal with, now as they look at their identity and they're trying to figure out who they are, they're confused, or they believe that they are someone that they are not. Okay. Let me go on. The favorable outcome is seeing oneself as a unique and integrated person. The unfavorable outcome is confusion over who and what one really is. Okay. Now, let me also say this. I do believe that sometimes babies are born with imbalances in their body, which result in them leaning a certain way. They have imbalances, their chemicals, like there are some shifts in their genetics. I'm talking about genetically, right? Which would predispose them to go in certain directions because their hormonal levels are more towards that of the other gender than the gender that they were born, okay? The sex that they were born, because there's a difference between your biological sex and your gender, because gender is a socialized identity. I don't know why I'm talking about this today, but there's a reason. In adulthood, it's intimacy versus isolation. The favorable outcome is ability to make commitments to others and to love. This is in early adulthood. That's what you're dealing with. That's why the dating process, right? That's what you're trying to figure out, right? And this is where you learn how to make commitments. But what happens sometimes is people end up making commitments prematurely. And then hearts are broken. And then it affects people's willingness and ability to commit in the future. The unfavorable outcome is the inability to form affectionate relationships. This is also connected to attachment styles in infancy. How securely were you attached to your parent or your the parental figure in your life? If you are able to establish a secure attachment as an infant, then you're more likely to be able to have healthy, effective relationships as an adult. But if you have insecure attachments as an infant, like your mom, you didn't know if your mama was going to be there if she wasn't, or you were in a bunch of different places, you had a bunch of different caregivers, or like it can be a number of things. There was separation. Your mama had to go to the hospital and was separated from you. Like all of these things come into play. And see, we think that they don't, but they do. So middle age, generativity versus self-absorption. Concern for favorable outcome is concern for family and society in general. And the unfavorable outcome is concerned only for self, one's own well-being and prosperity. This is where we have the middle age crisis, right? Midlife crisis. That's where that comes in. When you're trying to figure some things out, right? And then the aging years is integrity versus despair. The favorable outcome is a sense of integrity and fulfillment and a willingness to face death. See, you can face death when you know that you have lived a fulfilling life. It is when we live a life full of regrets that we find ourselves in a place of despair, right? We don't want to die. Oh, life is horrible. The Unfavorable outcome is dissatisfaction with life and despair over the prospect of death, because you don't feel like you make good choices, or you haven't made peace with your life and your past. Yes. Tammy said, can being born premature also fit that criteria? Insecure? Absolutely. So if you're born premature, you prematurely came out of the womb. You didn't have the full incubation period. Not only that, premature babies are often separated from their mothers. They're not necessarily able to breastfeed, so they don't have that attachment. So it can create an insecure attachment with the mother. Okay. Now, y'all, I don't know why y'all just stay with me, because I promise you I'm going somewhere. There's something that God is doing with all of this. Okay. So that is Erickson's psychosocial development stages. Hold on, because there's another one that I need to address. Okay, so Freud has what's known as the psychosexual theory of development. The psychosexual theory of development. So let me talk about this for a minute. So when we look at the psychosexual theory of human development, there are 5 stages, and each one of them, it says that Freud proposed that personality development in childhood takes place during 5 psychosexual stages, which are the oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital stages. Each stage, sexual energy or libido is expressed in different ways and through different body parts, right? Now listen, they're called psychosexual stages because each stage represents the fixation of the libido, the sex drive, or the instincts, okay? And it focuses on a different area of the body during the different stages. So as children grow, as people grow, certain parts of their body become important as sources of potential frustration, erogenous zones, pleasure, or both, right? You're fixated there, right? Or that's a place of pleasure for you, or you're fixated there and it's a place of pleasure. Now, I want y'all to check this out, and I want y'all to listen very clear to me, because it's going to make you understand why you like some of the stuff you like. I want y'all to hear me. It's going to make you understand why you like some of the stuff you like sexually. Okay. And maybe it'll help you understand how to get through this and figure out what's going on with you. I know it's a lot, but y'all stay with me. So here we go. And someone referred to this a little earlier. We talk about with Freud, we talk about the id, the ego, and the super ego, right? But let me get to these stages, right? So the oral stage, the body part is the mouth, right? It's about the mouth. This is where you have, they're learning sucking, swallowing, all of that, and ego develops. Okay, this is where ego develops, right? Ego is, hold on. Ego deals with how we see ourselves. It deals with how we see ourselves. So your ego develops at this stage. Now, this is when babies have the sucking reflex, right? Yes, the sucking reflex, right? Now, the problem is, the baby's going to get a lot of satisfaction from pulling all sorts of things to the mouth. They put everything in their mouth, to satisfy the libido. There is a satisfaction that they get from that, right? It meets their demands. Now, whether this is where biting comes in, yet how we see ourselves, right? This is where biting comes in. It's biting, sucking, breastfeeding, having a pacifier. All of those things deal with the oral stage. The oral stage occurs from birth to 1 year. The problem is if there is not an appropriate disconnection from the bottle, from the breast, from the pacifier, that child will be fixated there. And then what we'll see is it manifested in terms of smoking, biting nails, eating, thumb sucking, okay? Oral personalities engage in such oral behaviors, particularly when under stress. Stress produces a return to whatever area where you're fixated, okay? I have an oral fixation, right? I have an oral fixation. I sucked my thumb until I don't know how old I was, right? And it was because I disconnected from the breast too early. I didn't have that security. I wasn't able to process that out and work that out as an infant. And it resulted in an oral fixation. Okay? So you see that with eating. It's why I like to eat. It's why I would eat ice all the time. It's why I would chew gum all the time. It's why I would bite my nails. It's something like I needed to listen. I'm telling y'all, when God began to make these connections for me last night and this morning, because these connections are this morning connections, okay? It helped me to understand some things, okay? Now, that's the oral stage. If you're a smoker, chances are you did not disconnect in a healthy way from the bottle or the breast. Either you breastfed or were on the bottle too long, or listen, y'all. Okay, birth to 1 year, if not properly nurtured, the byproduct on the mouth may be smoke, sucking, thumb biting, eating. Absolutely. Now, the anal stage. The anal stage is the second development stage, and it occurs between 13 months and 18 months and 3 years. During this stage, the libido becomes focused on the anus, and the child derives great pleasure from defecating. Okay. A child taking pleasure in controlling and releasing their bowels. Freud believed that this type of conflict tends to come to a head in potty training, in which adults impose restrictions on when and where the child can defecate. The nature of this first conflict with authority can determine the child's future relationship with all forms of authority. And unresolved conflicts or issues during this stage can lead to problems later on, such as excessive cleanliness, stubbornness, or a need for control. Early or harsh potty training can lead the child to becoming an anal retentive personality who hates mess, is obsessively tidy, punctual, and respectful of authority. They can be stubborn and tight-fisted with their cash and possessions. This is all related to the pleasure of holding on to their feces when toddlers, and their mom insisting they get rid of it by placing them on the potty until they perform. Ooh, the anal retentive, that's the anal retentive. The anal explosive underwent a liberal toilet training regime during the anal stage. So in adulthood, the anal explosive person it's the person that wants to share things with you. They like giving things away. In essence, they are sharing their okay? An anal explosive personality is also messy, disorganized, and rebellious. I want y'all to understand, right? This is why it's very important for us to understand this stuff, because it will make some things in our lives, in the lives of our children, and the lives of people around us make some sense, okay? The phallic stage is from 3 to 6. This is the stage where the infant's libido or desire centers upon their genitalia as their erogenous zone. During this stage, children become more aware of their bodies and develop a fascination with their genitals, as well as those of the opposite sex. The child becomes aware of anatomical differences, which sets in motion the conflict between erotic attraction, resentment, rivalry, jealousy, and fear, which Freud calls the Oedipus complex in boys and the Electra complex in girls. Yes. Come on, Tammy. Yes. Yes. All right. So during this stage, it can lead to problems later on, like sexual dysfunction, gender identity issues, or difficulties with relationships. Um, the Oedipus complex. Now, this is something that, people, disagree with or whatever, but Oedipus in Greek mythology was a young man that kills his father and marries his mother, right? And after discovering that, he pokes his eyes out and becomes blind, right? In the young boy, the Oedipus complex, or this conflict, arises because the boy develops sexual desires for his mother. Now, it doesn't mean, and I want y'all to understand what I'm saying, he wants to possess his mother exclusively and get rid of his father to enable him to do so. So this is where this conflict between sons and fathers comes in. So sons and fathers have this, you'll notice this is why boys tend to be drawn to their mamas and girls tend to be drawn to their daddies. This is a very important time, because if it's not handled right, if they're not able to process through it, it will create unhealthy sexual behaviors, unhealthy relationships with the opposite sex. Okay. They're trying to develop identification, right? So y'all, this is so much. I don't know why, God, but okay. This is when the boy is beginning to determine who he identifies with, right? So he's trying to possess his mother, and he's trying to figure out how to possess his mother. So he watches his father to identify with his father, to copy his father's behaviors so that he can possess his mother. In the absence of a father, I want y'all to hear me, in the absence of the father, for him to copy his behaviors, to understand what men do, what boys look like, how to possess the mother, then what he does is he tries to become the mother. Now he's identifying with the mother because he does not have a father to identify. He's not able to copy. The father and the mother don't have that relationship. So he's not able to witness the father interacting with the mother to understand and know, okay, well, this is how I become like daddy, right? So he tries to become like mother. His connection with daddy it's not there. So rather than wanting to possess his mother, he wants to become his mother. Is this making any sense, y'all? So when boys are learning who they are, if there is not a father present in their life, and there's not a healthy, effective relationship between the father and the mother, the boy is going to more greatly identify with the mother. So now he's gone from wanting to possess the mother to wanting to be like the mother. His identification, his gendered identification, his sexual identification has gone towards the mother instead of the father. Y'all know, y'all have seen it. These little boys is always up under their mama. They mama, they sisters, they aunties. They mamas, they sisters, they aunties, they grandmamas. All they're surrounded by is women. It's girls everywhere. Listen. And they don't have that male role model. It doesn't mean every one of them are going to go in that direction. It does not mean that, but it means that there is a greater likelihood of propensity, right? Now, everybody is different, and how everybody gets to where they are is different. So I'm not making a blanket statement. I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but it's an important part of the process. Not just who raised us, but who has the greatest influence on us, right? So if there is not a male for you to, for a boy to model after, If he doesn't see an effective relationship between the daddy and the mama, like there are all of these dynamics that come into play. Yes, yes. Marina said, I know a man who is not gay, but doesn't know how to respond to certain things as a man, if that makes sense. And he knows it. Absolutely. So what he's more likely to do is respond the way a woman would respond. This is where you see more emotional men, extremely sensitive men, right? Somehow they have connected more with that side of themselves than the masculine side. Okay? Corey said they'd be good arguers too. Absolutely. Okay? So listen. These things are not okay. Let me talk about the Electra complex for girls. It says the girl desires the father, but realizes that she doesn't have a penis. This leads to the development of penis envy and the wish to be a boy. The girl resolves this by repressing her desire for her father and substituting the wish for a penis with the wish for a baby. The girl blames her mother for her castrated state, and this creates tension between the mother and the daughter. The girl then represses her feelings to remove the tension and identifies with the mother to take on the female gender role, right? So this is where the identification comes on. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. I feel like I am a walking contradiction, right? I'm a walking contradiction for a number of reasons, but I realize that I'm a walking contradiction. Growing up, I was girly in that I didn't want to get dirty. Like I didn't want to get dirty. I didn't like being dirty, right? I liked to be cute, right? But I also wanted to do the stuff that boys did. So I wanted to play football. I wanted to play with the boys. I didn't want to play with the girls because I honestly, as a child, looked at girls and the stuff that girls did and how they related and interacted as silly. It was too much. Like I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It seemed weak to me. As a child, it seemed weak to me. Like I wanted the power. Like I wanted the power that comes from being with the boys. I recognized that they had more power. Like, oh, I want power. But I also understood the power that came from being a girl. So I am this unique mix of the masculine and the feminine. So I know how to operate in the feminine, but I also have masculine tendencies. Like I think a lot of times like a dude. Like I do. I think like a guy. But I understand how to be feminine. I understand it. But my mind, the way I think, the way I rationalize, the way I move will often show up more masculine. I'm the fighter warrior. I'm the leader. I'm the one that I'm going to come in and if I need to take charge, I know how to take charge. I'm not afraid to make a decision. So I'm this unique dichotomy of both ends, right? You will see both things show up in me. And I'll have to remind myself to draw back from that masculine energy. Because like we need to gotta get it, right? All of that. And I think that some of that evolved. My baby said my unicorn. I think some of that evolved from me because I felt like, listen to me, I want y'all to hear this. I felt like if I had been a boy, my daddy and I would have had a better relationship. If I'd been a boy, penis envy, my daddy and I would have had a better relationship. Corey said that was me jumping roofs, climbing trees, have mostly male friends, but it's flipped around now. Absolutely. Y'all, okay, I ain't gonna be on here all day with y'all with this, but I gotta finish this because it's important, because I need y'all to understand. And remember, this is Freud's psychosexual stages of development, okay? All right, so during this stage, the child's sexual impulses become suppressed, the libido is dormant, and no further psychosexual development takes place. It becomes latent, which means hidden. Children focus on developing social and intellectual skills. Freud thought that most sexual impulses are repressed during the latent stage, and sexual energy can be sublimated towards school, work, hobbies, and friendships. So most of the energy is channeled into developing new skills and acquiring new knowledge, and play largely becomes confined to other children of the same gender. Listen to this, though. Listen to this. Because during this stage, this is the latency stage, which is 6 to puberty, right? During this stage, if a child is touched sexually, it will shift so that what would have been their libido being dormant, their libido is activated prematurely. It will create confusion in that child. They will begin to deal with things that they weren't scheduled to deal with for a while. It will pervert things in their life because something happened during the latency stage that should not have occurred. It was not supposed to occur, but it did, and it created some shifts. So this is from 6 to puberty, right? 6 to about 12. Now, if something happens during this stage and things begin to shift, unresolved conflicts or issues during this stage can lead to problems later on, such as difficulty expressing emotions or forming healthy relationships. The genital stage is from puberty to adult, that's 12 to adulthood. This is the 5th and final stage of his theory, which begins in puberty and continues into adulthood. During this stage, individuals start to become sexually mature and begin to explore their sexual feelings and desires more maturely and responsibly. 12 to adulthood. Okay, this corresponds with Erickson's stage, where it is the identity stage. Identity stage. This is the identity stage, right? 12 to the identity stage. Trying to figure out your identity. So this is the stage where they start to have romantic feelings and explore sexuality, begin to form intimate relationships, and the successful resolution of this, which is the settling down in a loving one-to-one relationship with another person, like in the 20s, right? A teenager who begins to experience sexual attraction and begins to explore their sexuality. Listen, if that exploration includes any same gender exploration, they're going to be trying to figure out what that means. And I know we don't want to talk about this, but can we be real? Same gender exploration occurs. Sometimes it occurs with family members. Stuff occurs prematurely in the family. Understand? With close friends. They're spending most of their time with the same sex. So this is where that if there's any, wondering, curiosity, or something has been forced upon them and it occurs during this stage, this can create some issues. Okay? This creates issues. They're trying to figure it out. So I just want you to understand that these stages have things that are associated with them. So let me share this. And then I'm going to close out. I don't know why God has me talking about this today, but I know that there is a reason, okay? I don't know why he has me talking about, but I know there's a reason, okay? In the oral stage, the ego or view of self develops. Continues on in the anal stage, right? In the phallic stage, that's where the super ego begins, right? It's where we begin to be more concerned with how what is moral. It's where our values begin to develop. Now let's talk about these fixations that occur in these different stages. In the oral stage, if there's a fixation in the oral stage, there's forceful feeding, deprivation, or early weaning. It's going to lead to oral activities like smoking, dependency, and aggression. In the anal stage, when toilet training is too harsh or too lax, you develop obsessiveness, tidiness, meanness, untidiness, or generosity, right? So if it's too harsh, it's obsessiveness, tidiness, meanness. If it's too lax, it's untidiness and generosity. In the phallic stage, if there's a fixation there, abnormal family setup leading to unusual relationship with mother or father. It can result in vanity, self-obsession, sexual anxiety, inadequacy, inferiority, and envy. All of these things are things that can occur based on our psychosexual development. There are those who agree with the psychosexual development, but listen, I don't think everything is sexual, but I don't think you can talk about development without talking about both. And Erickson and Freud, both. In my mind, they go together. That's what helps you to get a better understanding of a person, of yourself. I have an oral fixation. And that is why eating is so important to me, because it's something that I can have control of. I have control of that, right? I have control of that. So listen, you've got to get to a place where you understand you. You got to understand you and why you are the way you are. If you understand the things that the enemy sends to attack you based on these things shall not prosper. You've got to be willing to explore, to look at, to understand you. And the truth of the matter is, so often we're so used to saying, that's just who I am, that's just who I am, that's just who I am, that we never explore why we are the way we are. We won't ask ourselves the deep questions, nor do we ask other people the deep questions. When you begin to ask those questions and you begin to understand you at a deeper level, you now have more ability to control what you do. You can change things. Now, I will be absolutely honest with you. I need to ask my mama some questions. I need to ask some questions about, because I think what happened was, because I was breastfed. So I think what happened was, when I got my first little teeth, I bit my mama and she stopped breastfeeding. She just stopped breastfeeding me. Just stopped, like abruptly stopped breastfeeding me. There was no weaning me off the breast. She just stopped. And so it kept me at that place. For a long time growing up, I bit my nails. Like I was a nail biter, okay? And I remember that stopped a little later, but I sucked my thumb. All of these are indications, okay? I could have been a smoker, but I don't like smoke. I don't like the way it feels, or, I don't like that. But I also think it's one of the reasons that I enjoy smoking a cigar. I don't smoke them all the time, but every now and then I will. They relax me. It relaxed me. The process, I like it. I like it, And people say that's not ladylike, but I just like it. Now I'm understanding why that's something that I naturally like. It's why I like to eat. And I like eating all different types of food. I'm very exploratory in my eating. I like trying international food. I like trying different types of food. I like it because I seek that pleasure sensation. I seek it. So when we begin to understand things about us, we can deal with us. So for me, my issue didn't come from not having food. It came from desiring food, wanting something to be in my mouth, not wanting anything to be wasted, like valuing the oral experience, valuing that. I value that. I value the eating experience. I don't eat to satisfy my hunger. I eat for the experience. It's experiential. Tammy said, I was a preemie. I wasn't even 2 pounds when I was born in the hospital for months. I've always struggled to find the emotional connection with her. And that's why. Because it wasn't allowed to develop then. So this becomes the next question. How do you address these things? How do you begin to fix these things, right? See, what I realize is we develop resentments and anger towards our parents, towards people who were a part of the stage that stunted us that we don't even recognize. And it's not until we recognize them that we can actually face that and forgive them so that we can move forward. So we can't move forward as a whole person, complete, lacking nothing, until we release them. It helps when you understand where it comes from because you can be more specific. So, Tammy, it wasn't your mama's fault that you were born a preemie, but somewhere inside of you, maybe you resent the fact that you weren't able to build that connection during that time. And it probably started very early on. Because if you have siblings who have that connection, there's a resentment like, why are they your favorite? Or why? You understand what I'm saying? So when we begin to understand these things, we can address them and move forward. This is the season where God is going to reveal to you why you are the way you are. If you will open your eyes, if you will do the work, if you will be open to the revelation. And I know some people will say, well, you just pray and ask God to remove anything. Y'all, them blanket prayers, listen, I'm not saying prayer doesn't work, but this is what I'm going to tell y'all. When you understand what is going on in you, you can deal specifically with that thing. Not just in the spirit, but also in the natural. We want to only deal with things in the spirit and not deal with them in the natural. And we wonder why things keep showing back up in our life, why we keep having the same experiences over and over and over and over again. Men, if you keep marrying the same woman or being in a relationship with the same woman, I would wager you trying to work out something with your mama. Something you may not even know that you got, but you're trying to work it out. Let me tell you something interesting about me and my husband's mama. Our birthdays are in the same month. And mine is the 22nd. Hers is, I think, the 27th, right? Now, I know y'all good saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost people don't believe in astrological signs. I know y'all don't believe in that, but let me tell you something. There are certain patterns that are produced when the stars and the planets are aligned in certain areas, certain patterns that are produced in people's personality, right? It doesn't mean you have to do it. It doesn't mean it rules you. It does not have to rule you, but it means that you're going to have certain predispositions, more than likely, okay? So I'm right on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. And the thing about being on the cusp is I got some of both of the tendencies. Well, his mom was born during the Virgo season, the Virgo sign. And so she and I share some things in common, right? We share some things in common. And I hadn't thought about it until I'm talking about this, right? but we share some things in common. And that's interesting, right? That's it. That's a whole, we can have a conversation. But anyway, yes. Somebody said, you better speak. Prophetess Tammy said, the fear of abandonment is so real. Absolutely. Yeah. And this is the other crazy thing. Me and Dr. V, Verlin Haley Russell, are both Dr. V and both born August the 22nd. What are the chances? And our paths intersected. That's so crazy, but that's so God, right? So you all understand that it shall not prosper. And it won't prosper because God is going to give you the information that you need to be able to understand you in the situation. You can't control anybody else, not what they think, not what they say, and not how they move. But what you can control is you, your response, your reaction, what you give attention to. You can control you. Yes, sis. Yes. You can control you. Today, on this great, amazing Friday, I hope that I've given you some information that helps you understand you. Maybe you had an aha moment, a moment where something became clear to you, helped you to understand something in your life, something in you, something in your dynamics, your family dynamics, your life dynamics, your relationship dynamics, your dynamics with your children. Listen. So when I watch my daughter and I watch her parenting, I just understand that there are some things that will shape these kids' personalities. Angel number 1010. That we have to be aware of, that I wasn't aware of as a new parent. I wasn't. I didn't understand my saboteurs and how they would affect my children. I didn't understand my psychosexual development and my fixation. I didn't understand the stages of development in Erickson and how that affected who I was. I didn't understand my personality type. I didn't understand. Listen, but all of these things go together and work together. And when we can get a complete picture of where we are and who we are, and then we can get a complete understanding of who God created us to be, we can begin to feel that gap, the gap between who we were created to be and who we currently are, so that we can be who we need to be to get to our destiny. Why aren't we there? We haven't filled that void. We haven't been able to make those transitions. And we may know that we need to change some things. We may recognize that there's some things that are blocking us, but we just don't know how to close the gap. We don't know how to do it. We don't have a bridge. Well, I thank God that he created me, as my husband always says, to be a bridge. I used to despise it. I used to not like it because it meant that I got walked on, driven over, okay? But now I understand that he created me to be a bridge and to help people bridge the gaps in their lives, to make them make sense and understand themselves. You all, it's not haphazard. There is a pattern to this thing we call life. And there are cycles that exist. And you've got to understand the patterns, the cycles, the times, and the seasons, so that you can understand how to bridge the gap. God, I thank you for making me a bridge. I thank you that people are able to walk across me to get to the other side. I thank you that people are able to drive across me to get to the other side. I thank you that you give me divine strategy and information that is able to be combined to assist people in bridging the gaps in their life and the gaps in their identity, that they might see themselves as you see them, that we might truly understand who you created us to be, and we might be able to use the word of God to help us to make transitions that are necessary. In the word, there is an answer for everything. In the word, there's an answer for everything, and there is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that you're dealing with, nothing that we're looking at right now, nothing that we're facing that has not already existed. And so I thank God for fresh revelation and the ability to bring the pieces of the puzzle together. to create a whole puzzle, to develop strategy, to assist people in navigating their life. Look, I pray this word blessed you. Listen, if the word blessed you, you can sow a seed at Cash App $DRV Johnson 777. You can sow a seed at Cash App $DRV Johnson 777. My baby said, my bridge, I don't mind sharing sometimes. He's a good sharer, though. He really is a good sharer. He shares well. I need a good sharer because I'm not there yet. I'm going to get there, though, y'all. I'm going to get better. I've already gotten better, so yeah. Angel number 1010 is associated with joy, purity, unconditional love. Yes, woman of God, that's right. I'm gonna put this up here so that you can. It's more big. It's bigger, not more bigger, but bigger. When this number keeps showing up in your life, what? It encourages you to trust that you are creating at an accelerated pace. So be careful and deliberate about what you set out to create. Oh my goodness, Jesus. What you say? What you say? What you say? What you say? This number sequence also encourages you to tap into your intuitive abilities. Everyone is intuitive. Trust that you are about to embark on a new chapter in life. This is the time to get serious about your intentions. Trust that you have the knowledge within to manifest your wishes at this time. This number also gives soulmate energy. Hey! But you can't just sit and wait for your soulmate to show up. It's all about acting and initiating. Come on. Woo. Okay, y'all. Angel number 1010. I pray that you've been blessed by this word today. I pray that it has given you what you need or something, some food for thought, so that you can grow and bridge the gaps in your life that need bridging. I'm all about it. Understanding who you are and being able to bridge those gaps is important. So keep taking the journey. Keep trusting God. Come on now. I'm yet being perfected for me and you. Come on, soulmate. I know that's right, sis. Keep on the journey. Keep on the journey. I'm telling you, God is up to something huge in your life. And he needs you to trust him and know that though the weapons may form, they shall not prosper. You keep doing you and keep letting God reveal what needs to be revealed and watch what he does. It's manifestation time. Time to manifest all the promises of God that he has given us. Time to manifest all of the promises of God that he has given us. Let's go get it. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an amazing, incredible, and epic day. Be blessed. Mwah.